famous.
We are live here for the first time on YouTube. We are learning the laws of Shabbos. We are also live on Facebook Live. And we are also live on Zoom. Zoom. And we are now going to also be live on TikTok. Let's go live TikTok. Oh, this is going to be too many lives at once. Over live myself. I'm going to live too long.
No chicken wings.
You're
getting ripped every time we turn around.
Chicken wings, chicken wings.
Yeah, I bought a large bottle of vodka.
Okay, we got.
Welcome
Welcome to the shir for the very first time. Something is wrong. Oh, I put the camera backwards. How do we switch the camera around?
Can you pass the picture, please?
And we flip the camera.
It's not expired.
Welcome to the shir. We are live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We are also live on Zoom. Welcome to the shir of all ages. We have never had so many connections.
Sauceless
Chicken wings and worldwide. This week's parsha is the best parsha, one of my favorite parshas, Parshas Noach. It is one of the most interesting parshas because there was a flood because of the sins of man. And then right after, at the end of the parsha, we do the same thing again, baby. The same thing again.
What, even pass out?
No, we do the exact same thing again. What we do exactly alike? Yes, we did exactly what we did before. And the reason why we did Abba Steinhauser's back, baby. Abba in the house. Guess who's here? Your two buddies are here. We got and we got your two buddies. Go say hi. Let me version them in.
Oh,
Abba's back. Abba's back from the bin. L'chaim, Abba. With Dirk. No, he was separate.
Kidding.
Abba, we missed you, man. We haven't seen you in months. The whole Tishrei. How you feeling, man?
Okay, whatever.
No, whatever. Say, I'm excited to be here. Where you at now? You're in Crown Heights yet? You back?
No.
Anyways, so at the end of the parsha, what happens? They build the Tower of Babel, the big tower. And what do? They do the same thing again. Baseless building. Why are they building? For their own glory. Why they build this tower? For their own glory. So God was not happy with that. Because everything they did was for their own glory. They didn't do anything for themselves. Everything that was done for yourself. For greed, for money. And that was the whole reason why the flood happened in the first place. Instead, you should learn your lesson. The Holocaust happened. 6 million Jews died. What do we should learn from it? That we don't get involved in such things anymore, right? That we don't do such things anymore. But instead, we went and built a Tower of Babel. Think about that. Who is this man, Noach? What was so special about Noach? Noach is a special character, a special intellectual person. He was a tzaddik of his generation. But at the same time, it says that if he would have lived in the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he wouldn't be a tzaddik. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe himself said, take my name out of the Torah. Don't destroy the Jewish nation, right? Take me out of the Torah. I don't want to be part of the Jewish nation if you're going to kill the Jews. And what happened? Noach says, okay, you want to kill everybody? Okay, I'm going to get in the Teva. Thank you for saving my life. I appreciate it.
Teva in upstate New York?
Yeah, we're going to the Teva upstate New York. Boom, boom. So what was the difference over here? So Rabbi Yehuda actually says that that's not what happened. What happened over there was the Jewish nation father and forefathers, and the children were righteous children. And so for the sake of the forefathers, for the sake of the children, you should save the Jewish nation. Not for their sake. They are evil. But at the time of Noach, there was nobody who was righteous. There was no father that was righteous. Your grandfather was a religious man. In Israel today, right? You go to any secular Jew and you say, are you religious? He'll say, no. Is your father religious? No. My grandfather? Oh, my grandfather tzaddik. Holy man. He's the holy of holies. He was a rabbi. He was a this. He was a righteous man. So For the sake of your righteous grandparents, okay, but there was no righteous grandparents over here by the flood. So Noach was really innocent because you're talking about a bunch of animals, a bunch of wild beasts that were running around killing and stabbing and robbing, and all they cared about was money. They had no other interest in life.
Money.
It doesn't remind us of anything. We've never seen such a thing
The
before.
coronavirus of money.
Yeah, coronavirus and money. Anyways, without further ado, are you ready, the rabbi? We have a special speaker here that we brought all the way from Winnipeg, Canada. He flew in all the way from Winnipeg, Canada. Winnipeg is one of the coldest places in the world. The coldest places in the world. In the summer, they have snow. Is it true? They still have snow?
We never have anything but snow.
Even in the summer, the snow. And he came to New York, which is one of the coldest places that we think in America, but it's actually pretty warm compared to Winnipeg. People from Winnipeg, he goes with short sleeves in the winter over here. He goes with short sleeves. It's like it's not. So without further ado, we're gonna ask this big rabbi over here. Oh, they need a rabbi in Merida, Mexico. They used to have a rabbi there, I thought. All right. Without further ado, we're gonna ask the rabbi, the man of the hour, whose son was on Jimmy Kimmel Live. And he's been live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. L'chaim, Rabbi Freeman.
You can eat chicken wings without salt.
L'chaim, welcome to the shir.
Welcome to
We are learning about Shabbos. Anybody know what that is?
What's that?
Yeah.
Sabbath, Shabbat.
We are learning the malachos of Shabbos as given over in this book here by Rabbi David Ribiat. We are on the 34th malacha called Boina. This year has been going for like 5-6 years.
For the last book.
Yeah, we're old timers already. And the topic tonight begins with replacing a trapdoor cover of a manhole lid of a drain. So a trapdoor or a hatch that came off its hinges may not even be loosely reconnected. Reconnecting the hatch in this manner is a prime example of Moisef Olabinian, adding on to your building. Replacing drain covers without hinges is also forbidden in many cases. Without hinges? The halacha depends on their design, as shall be explained below. Drain covers without handles. Removing or replacing the cover or grating over a floor drain is forbidden because the cover is viewed as an accessory to the drain, and replacing it is similar to installing an accessory. The lid and cover are also muksa. Examples: one may not slide a basement drain cover back to its position over the drain. One may not replace the grating over an outdoor drain. In some cases, installing or putting down the cover may be boina midaraisa. That means building according to the Torah, because the cover is an integral housing of the drain and of the manhole. Anybody have any questions so far?
No.
Have you ever replaced the drain on Shabbos?
We have the same thing every time. It's like no one does it anyway.
Well, it can happen.
In case you have to do it, you can't really do it.
Yeah. The trick is, how do you remember that when you have to replace the drain?
Well, yeah, only happens instantaneously usually. Usually when you're trying to all of a sudden get stuffed. Oh, okay, now I got to replace it. You don't think about it before Shabbos.
Right. Yeah.
Here's another example. Replacing the heavy drain lid of a public works storm drain or manhole cover.
Wait, we're not talking about when the vegetables get stuck inside the drain. We're not talking about that, right?
No, we're talking about big drains, like,
Sewer drains.
Yeah.
Transfer.
Okay, here's an example. Although the covers are designed to be removed from time to time, they may nevertheless be considered permanent fixtures since they are removed only rarely when cleaning or repairing the drain pipes. A drain or manhole is thus considered in a state of disrepair while left uncovered. It is comparable to a door that was removed from its hinges. It is understood that replacing the door would be considered an act of repair and therefore the malacha of boina, building. Regarding the correct procedure, okay, see another place. Okay, so that's why. It's because it's always there. You never take it off, and it's like a permanent fixture. So if it comes off its hinges or it's off, it looks like you're repairing something. Drain covers designed with handles. If a drain cover is designed with a handle for lifting it, the cover may be removed and replaced because the presence of a handle indicates that the cover is designed to be removed and replaced. Thus, the handle defines the cover as a functional accessory.
Somebody wants to know if someone will fall in it. Somebody will fall in it.
Somebody
fallen in some
Oh,
similar
the
to
Shabbos
door
going.
of the lid of a container.
So
Yeah,
somebody
door
want to
or the
know.
lid of a
Somebody want to know if somebody could fall in. Isn't it koach nefesh to fix the drain?
You gotta go to do it.
Andre
Well,
caution.
well, if he's gonna, what does he mean? Does it mean it was open before Shabbos?
No, they said it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You see an open drain all of a sudden.
First of all, I don't know anyone in Crown who actually
Where would you
work,
see-
work on their house on their own anyway without paying someone else.
Yeah,
to
but
do
let's
it.
say there's a drain open on
They're
Kingston
all-
Avenue. You're
they're
not,
all pretty
let's say
lazy.
there's an open drain on Kingston Avenue. What are you gonna do?
Where would you see an open drain? That's
Throw it
not
out.
what it's talking about.
Non-religious Jew walking with his cell phone, looking at it, and not looking at the floor.
First of all, if you're walking down the street and you see an open drain, you're not gonna fix it.
Right, exactly.
Right? It's not your business.
It's not your business. Yeah.
Right.
What about
But if it's in your
311?
house, then you got a problem.
Yeah, he said they, he,
311?
said- he
Your
said he
house
saw
don't
the drain
follow.
open on Shabbos. What is he supposed to do? That's what the guy's asking.
Where did you see it? Where?
Well, he's walking. He's walking and he sees
In
an
the
open drain.
street.
Yeah.
It's
So
a-
tell everyone in the shoot, don't go there.
why would he fix it?
It's not your property.
I asked you a question. Tomato.
Why would you walk around it? You don't fix an open drain in the street.
Hey, you called them. You could call the mechanic or something.
How can you call the mechanic? You
Call
can't
the
use your
cops.
phone.
What about 311?
Get off nothing. Somebody might fall.
311?
Ask non-Jews to do it.
Yeah, tell a goy.
That's right. That's solved. The whole book solves itself. That one.
And one time I was hiking and this guy like broke his leg, so I went to this other guy and asked him to call the cops.
But it wasn't Shabbos.
Shabbos.
You can't hike on Shabbos.
I haven't.
Okay.
I always go hiking on Shabbos.
The guy broke the leg, so you call the cops.
Yeah, you just gotta get from one place to another, so you get to the forest.
Okay, so let's say here's something more practical. So we just had a big rainstorm a few weeks ago, and basements got flooded.
Right.
So you can lift up a floor drain in a flooded basement and allow the water to proceed, provided the drain is made with handles to accommodate the easy removal. Has to have handles on it.
Right. You can't like unscrew with a screwdriver or something.
All right. So if it's got handles on it, you're okay. You can pull it up. Okay. Rubber stoppers. One is permitted to plug a sink drain with a rubber stopper on Shabbos and to remove the stopper as well. This is not boina because plugging and unplugging is merely the regular, ordinary mode of use of a stopper and is not any act of repair, similar to replacing the stopper on a bottle. As a general rule, the mode of use of an item is not a malacha and is permitted. You know, you heard of mode of use there, Derek, to touch Michel?
Right.
You know what that is?
Touch
It's
me
a
is
principle.
in the back of your hand.
No, the way of use.
Oh, the
Oh,
regular
you're
way of
saying it's a
using it.
regular way of using it, so it's not
Yeah,
out of the
so
ordinary.
that's
It's not out of
that's
the ordinary.
permitted. That's permitted. Okay. Okay. The strainer basket of the type that fits in the drain of a kitchen sink may also be removed or replaced on Shabbos because it is designed to be removed regularly.
Oh,
So with your regular sinks, you got no problem.
no one's gonna fall in there anyway.
Right. Okay.
Somebody wants to know that could you use a person who is a goy? Allowed to use a goy if a goy is an idol worshiper. Like they're a known idol worshiper. Is it considered like
Well, you
benefiting from a avodah zarah?
can't give him your wine.
No,
You know, but
but you could ask him to turn on
is
the
he,
light.
is he taking his idol up to you and saying bow down to it?
You hear that? Depends on the situation. That was a question. Huh?
Idol worshiper?
Yeah, if somebody, if he wants to know about a certain lady in Crown Heights.
Really? Is idol worship?
Why? If there's a hole in a drain, you're gonna
She
ask the guy
worships
before he fixes it if you're idol worship, you know?
She worships herself.
Yeah, well, there's a whole book in Gemara called Avodah Zorah. It's a, you could study about that and deal with it. Right now, we're learning the laws of Shabbos. Okay, so I'll read another page and then I'll pass the book. If anybody else wants to read. Mechanical drain stoppers. The stopper of a bathroom sink drain designed with the mechanical control lever is considered a permanent part of the sink assembly. If a stopper of this kind became disconnected, repairing it is a malacha deraisa of boina building, even if the act only entails a simple adjustment and requires no
So
tool.
an overflowing toilet can't be fixed on Shabbos. Period.
We learned that before.
Well, that's a plunge.
Maybe.
To plunge, you're allowed to
Oh,
plunge.
that's it.
No, you can't use a
Not
I know,
professional.
snake, but you could just plunge.
You
Yeah.
can plunge?
Yes.
Plunge itself, but not like to unclog it completely. Like with a whole system.
I'm not talking about the plunge. It's not clogged from the plunge. The system is messed up. You can't fix it.
No, the whole
Mechanical
system.
drain stopper, like it's
Yeah.
you got to
Right,
rebuild it to fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just,
We're not talking about a plunger here.
okay, we're not.
No, it's like your jiggle thing on the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. When
If
it gets
that
messed
goes
up,
off-
you can't use it on Shabbos.
Right.
That's off
That's
limits.
what this says. Maybe there's a way around it.
Well, you just pull
What
the
if it
plug.
just what if
Put it in the yard.
what if it's just leak? You know, sometimes it just stops, it gets stuck, and then it leaks.
And you just
and
gotta
you just
flip
got
it
to
up?
jiggle it.
Jiggling is fine.
Jiggling is okay.
You could jiggle yourself all day. But you're not allowed to like pull.
Okay, we're hearing from the great
You can
Rabbi
wiggle
Bill.
it, but you can't jiggle it. Greatest rabbi, Melech
Yes.
Mashiach.
No.
Yes, you could use a plunger.
His grandfather is now known as the Bedichever. 95 years old, does a mimer every Shabbos balka between Mincha and Mara. Can you imagine? 95? Can't even think when you're 95.
Can't even
My
think about
you
being
making fun of my
95.
grandfather?
No, I'm exalting him.
He looks young.
Yeah, but I mean,
You can't even think about being 95. I don't know, being
right.
95.
Imagine
Oh,
giving
look
a
who's
whole-
back. Zach is back. Say what's up,
Hey,
Zach?
Zach. You're
Zach.
married now, yeah?
Married.
Mazel tov. Okay. All right. Sticking
Star
tacks,
worshiper, huh?
sticking tacks and push pins into a cork back bulletin board. What do you think?
No.
Anybody say yes?
No.
Everybody agrees it's no?
Big no.
All right, let's find out.
Can I have a repetition of the question, please?
Pin or a tack stuck into a cork bulletin board. Can you do it?
Okay.
Place your best.
According to leading postgame, one is not permitted to stick pins into a wall or bulletin board, whether to hang notes or for any other purpose, because of questions involving boina, which is building, and other, Shabbos restrictions. Tacking an item on the board may be boina for the following reasons. 1. The pin forms a hole in the cork backing of the board. Creating a hole in the ground or in a land-based structure is boina. The fact that the hole being created in the cork is only temporary is not sufficient basis for permitting this act. The fact that the hole is filled in, i.e. with the tack itself, is also not a factor. This is because an opening has nonetheless been created to accommodate the point of the tack, I think,
Oh,
and serve as
Amir's
its
best to
base,
shame.
at least while it is stuck in. It is
Oh,
therefore
sauce.
comparable to the kind of hole created
chicken.
when one drives a pole into the ground. The hole in that case is a genuine structure that serves as a basis for the pole. It is therefore entirely
cheers.
irrelevant that the hole is filled in while the hole is there, or even that it may immediately fill up with dirt and close up as the hole is removed. So you can't do it. Another reason is the tack can also be viewed as an accessory that is being added to the structure, which is called moisef al binyan, adding to the building. That may remain in place for many days or weeks. It is similar to in this respect to attaching a hook to the wall. However, there is some merit to the argument that the cork backing is designed for regular pinning and detaching, and could therefore be permitted. That's called derech tashmishal, which we just said. The fact that the holes in the cork material close up after each use may also be a factor. Notwithstanding these considerations, one must adopt a stringent attitude on this question. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Can a
YouTube,
person who
Facebook Live,
worships idols stick a tack in the
Instagram,
board?
or Twitter. Anybody? Let's see, Facebook. Anybody asking questions over here?
Okay, I'll do one more paragraph. Anybody want to read next? Okay.
Gotta be honest, I don't
Sticking
know.
pins into a styrofoam wig head. You know what those are?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
So they
our
put the wig on top of it.
Yeah.
When they're not wearing it.
So can you stick a pin in that? Isn't that the same as a cork?
Stick a pin in there.
Eggs?
Okay.
What's it yet?
I don't know. There seems to be
Still
no
got
difference. But what does he say? Based upon what has been explained earlier regarding cork boards, it follows that a woman should not stick pins into a styrofoam wig head on Shabbos. or Yom Tov. Each penetration creates a new pinhole, which may not be made in an item on Shabbos. Moreover, the pins can be regarded as firmly attached accessories to the wig head that often remain in place for several days or weeks. The shadel should be placed on the wig head without pinning. Who wants to go next?
What should he do?
Would you like to read? You're pretty good. Okay.
Manhole. There's already a hole. Can you re-put the
Which one?
Good question.
As the Rebbe Elimelech.
Yes, yeah. Why not? Yeah, sure. It's like you're able to put a button.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one. That's it.
Removing glass
Well,
from broken
depends on-
window on Shabbos.
It's an actual hole.
If a window
That's
plane
sakana.
broke on Shabbos, the fallen shards of glass may be removed and safely discarded, even though the broken glass is otherwise muktzah. The fallen ones, basically on the floor. If
Yeah,
possible,
it's
the broken
sakana,
glass
yeah.
should be swept away or into the dustbin or discarded and not handed directly, so with some tools. However, broken pieces of glass still remain if the remaining stock in a window frame may not be removed. This is tantamount to sosir, demolishing, because removal of the broken glass prepares the window frame for installation of new glass. With the glass remaining in the poses a danger, one should first attempt to recover it with towels or the like. If this is not feasible, a non-Jew may be notified of the problem by means of remiza, hinting, and permitted to remove it. See section. If non-Jew is unavailable, one may remove the glass with the shinui of normal methods. For example, kicking
Yeah.
out the glass.
Some.
So
What?
you can kick it out if no go available. Covering the frame of a broken window. A gap is
There's a crack. There's a crack in the window. It's glass. You got to be careful.
broken,
Gotta cover it.
broken window.
It's a broken window. You know?
Crack.
Yeah.
And you have kids around.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Crack is dangerous.
It is dangerous. Don't do drugs, kids.
The gap resulting from the broken window or window pane
You're the old.
may be temporarily covered with towel, blanket, tablecloth, large book, or any non-muktzah item to cover out cold, wind, insects, etc. One may temporarily stuff the towel, blanket, etc. into corners of the window frame to hold them in place.
He says you're the oldest.
E.g., close the window with the closed caught between the cracks. However, this item may not be glued, tacked, stapled, or firmly attached in permanent fashion. To do so would be buoyant. A sheet of metal, plywood, or hard, clear plastic may not be fitted into the frame or gap because those materials are frequently left in the plane for long periods and would be regarded halachically as permanent installation, even though it's merely makeshift. Those items are usually also moved.
He wants to know if you could put masking tape on the window. This guy.
No,
No, right?
that's
But you could tie like a rope
a
around
boy
it or
name?
something. You could tie like a tablecloth around it or something.
tablecloth. No, he said that
Yeah, he told you what to do.
covered temporarily with the towel.
The towel,
And
piece of wood, whatever.
American windows, they're good because the front is sticking out, so you just
Put the towel over.
or even the top one, you can just pull it
Or
down,
you tighten the tablecloth around it.
pull it down, put the towel, pull it up.
Hey, Mark's in the house. What's up, Mark? Welcome
No
back.
wood, metal, or
What's going on?
Baruch Hashem. Good to see you, brother.
Same, likewise.
All right. Hang your wall and window attachments. Installing wall or window attachment on Shabbos or Yom Tov involves question of mosif
Want
arabinyan,
ketchup, sir?
adding to the building, because it's essentially the same as adding any accessory to a structure. On other hand, it could be argued that these type of accessories are not really permanent since they are hung loosely and are not really regarded as a fixtures. As a general rule, it is forbidden to hang those attachments in Shabbos for first time, as it's even best to refrain from rehanging them when they fall on Shabbos. Nevertheless, the authorities permit rehanging certain curtains and shades, as we'll as will be elaborated further. Okay, hanging curtains and window shades, installing or reinserting the hooks and brackets of curtains or shades into the wall is moisif alabinyan and malacha midoraisa. No nailing. One may also not hang any window treatment for the first time on Shabbos, even if the hooks and bars were already there. However, curtains or window shades that fell down on Shabbos may be put back up as long as their hooks and brackets still remain attached to the wall. Some poskim question whether hanging any kind of curtains or shades is permissible, even when merely replacing what's fell. If possible, one should ask a non-Jew to rehang the shades or the curtain. Okay, you want to continue?
People
What are you talking about? Anybody want to read
Hang the curtain only from the top or the top and the bottom?
No, usually it's on the top.
Usually there's
No,
nothing on the
let's say
bottom.
it fell down.
Like, do you remember when you learned this in Shmir
Yeah, we got
Shabbos? With Rabbi Karlbach?
Okay, so something weird happened in shul. The parochas fell off when someone was doing psicha.
So you throw it over.
Yeah, but you're allowed to do that on Shabbos?
We just said you're allowed to.
Yeah?
Let's say I
Right.
don't have a window shade on my window, and it's it's not sneeze Friday night, so you throw a sheet over.
Okay.
Yeah, but hello,
That's what they did.
The curtain on the top is no problem because it's not a what's it called? It's not a.
Oh,
it's not
welcome.
Can you
Chairs over there in the corner.
Cheers.
reread last?
Some place
it's only
can
a
question
temporary thing.
Whoa, what are you doing?
whether hanging any kind of curtains or shades is permissible, even when merely replacing what fell. If possible, one should ask a non-Jew to rehang the shade or curtain, if possible. Because the designs of window blinds vary greatly, there's different kinds. You can't make a general statement about window shades. There's millions of different types.
That's right.
The question of whether it is permissible to rehab window blinds. Basically, some windows you just pop it in, right?
Right.
Also, especially if you're gonna take it off before Shabbos is over, there's no question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fell down depends on their design. As a general rule, we must assume that replacing any window covers on Shabbos and Yom Tov may be boineh, unless reliable information to the contrary. So if we don't know what kind of window shade and this and that, we shouldn't try to replace it because we don't know. Every window shade is different, and you have to find out each window shade separately whether you're allowed to replace it on Shabbos or not. Wall
What if it has like
tapestry.
those little plastic brackets? You know, the ones that most of them have those little plastic
Yeah, but
brackets.
there's also ones that
they-
pop in, the little one at a time.
Yeah.
that
Are
pop
you allowed
in.
to do those?
So we just spoke about that.
You shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Better not to, because we
Okay.
don't know.
What
We
do you
don't
mean?
know.
If it falls out of this little square box at each end,
Yeah.
you can't stick it back in each
You're
end?
not sure, but
We
you
didn't
should
say
ask
that.
someone.
We didn't say that. We said we don't know. Every situation is different, so we have to ask for each window shade separately. We don't know.
Like it might be assembling, but it's like a hanging blinds in your house.
all the time. If you're only doing it from the top, there's no.
Once again, it
problem.
depends on the design. If the design is that it's a permanent, then it's a problem. If it's a temporary thing because it's going to pop out again in 5 minutes, then it's not a problem. Depends. Sometimes you just pop it in, it's going to pop out again every time. Most window shades are like that. Once they stop popping out, they keep popping out.
See, according to Chabad, right? According to Chabad,
Yes.
if you're only doing
And
it by
once
the
in a
top,
while-
it's not like football building a wall. It's only from the top. A wall from the top and the bottom.
Well, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's
That's what I remember learning.
but it's standing on the.
You ever learn about curtains?
standing on the bottom.
You
of the
remember
window.
them like this, or you don't remember so much?
Wall tapestries.
Lock-
Wall
Okay, so,
tapestries
yeah, I
that
know
hang
what I'm
by
saying.
hooks at the top and are not tied or attached at the bottom may be rehung if they fell on Shabbos or Yom Tov, just as one is permitted to rehang curtains. So we just wall tapestries. Is that what you're talking about? When there's the two things like this, you know what I'm talking about? And you just put it on the two sides into the hooks. That's fine because you're not attaching it to anything. Even so, we should avoid this and preferably request a non-Jew to rehung the tapestries. All those who keep getting offended by me saying non-Jew, we are talking about a person who is not a Jew. Since there are those, we're not offending anyone. We're just talking about somebody who's not a Jew. We're not saying a certain word or a curse word or, it's not like Schwarzer. We're not saying, a bad word.
Schwartz
Since
is not-
there are
Schwartz
some-
is not a bad word.
Yeah, but it's also not a bad word, but some people get offended.
Schwartz is not a bad word.
Don't get offended by the word goy.
Color, it's a color.
Goy is the same thing as
I
saying
mean, Schwartz is
Gentile.
beautiful. What are you talking about? It's a bad word.
Okay, it's a nice word. Since there are some poskim,
Or maybe Schwarza is bad, but Schwarz is black.
Blanco. Okay,
Okay, but in Russian, Nigger is black.
some
What
poskim
does that have to do with
who
it?
question whether hanging any kind of curtain is permissible. So it's better to not do it if you could get away with it. Try not to do it. Okay, re-hanging a wall picture that fell. This happens to me every Shabbos. The picture falls off the hook every single Shabbos, no matter
What's a wall picture?
Because your kids are
my
running
house.
around all over the
They throw down the
Leave a
pictures.
water picture on the wall. What's a wall?
Okay,
Because your beautiful children
basically,
are running around all over the place.
he had 50 pictures up here, right? And they all fell down except for one. So is he allowed? It's a fact that when he puts it up, it's going to fall. He knows,
Well, if you take it off before Shabbos and you put it back on after Shabbos, it's a big deal.
Okay, so the picture that fell from a hook may be rehung on Shabbos on a simple nail or hook, not screwed or clamped in. So if it just fell off the hook, like the mirror in my bathroom falls off every Shabbos, 3-4 times a Shabbos, somehow the mirror gets off the nail. So you can put it right back on, provided that it's not very expensive and rear painting that one would avoid hanging due to its fragile and very value, such as pictures of Rabbi Freeman. You don't want to hang those up because he's very careful about the pictures. They're very expensive. Each one's worth at least $100,000.
Speaking of that one remaining there, you want to give him a shot of it?
Yes.
For sale.
Since it's the one that's still standing, it's obviously the best painting. So I'm selling it for the highest bid
For sale.
to raise money for my granddaughter who's
In the house for most
needs a lot of money
Is Daniel in the Iron's Den?
for her
Which
condition, meningitis at 2 months old.
So Daniel in the Lion's Den. It's a beautiful picture.
No, it's called lion riding in Tunisia.
Oh, Lion Riding in Tunisia. I heard that.
Pardon, forgive me, I was offline there. Could you show the picture
Oh,
again?
you want to see the picture one more time?
Only tonight, $1,000. Normally $100,000.
Oh, those three guys there? That's the picture?
You
Hey,
need glasses.
where's the picture?
So
Where's the
that
picture?
painting is supposed to be Tunisia?
Oh, show me the picture, no?
1 second. Something happened to the computer.
bro.
You didn't see the
There's
picture?
a lion.
You just
No,
saw me.
because I
Wall, far in the back.
I said there's a lion.
Back.
So it makes sense. Yeah, it's Tunisia.
You see
Behind,
it?
Oh, that little one up there?
behind me on the
The
left
lion's
side.
not
Yeah,
only
you
in
can't see
Tunisia,
it.
but
I'll send you a picture of it later. I'll send you a copy of
I
it.
didn't like. I think a lion.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Now you started a war on my TikTok. Thanks a lot, whoever said the word Schwarzer.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You're gonna get kicked off TikTok.
Alfred Schwartz is beautiful, so.
Yes.
I
If
said
you
black
keep
is beautiful.
repeating the word, there's going to be
Your
more.
glasses flames are
Wow.
Schwarze.
That's what I said.
The black.
I said black is beautiful. I said, if you want to argue?
You said non-Jew?
Kippa is
Stick to it.
Anyways,
Black
let's
people.
just say goy, the word goy, and that's it. We're not saying African American. We're not saying white. We're not saying any other words. We are not trying to offend
Why don't you
anyone
say
here.
Gentile?
We don't want to say Gentile because Gentile offends gentle people.
We can change it.
We are not trying to fight. We are not trying to
That
fight.
wouldn't offend
Or you
me.
can call them
Because that's
mortals.
what I
Because
was.
if you don't know about social media, if you say any word, you will get banned. Any word.
Oh,
So what?
Okay.
What's the word that's gonna
What do you mean?
happen?
You're not
that's
going to
be
get banned from
zeros
my
and ones and zeros and ones, zeros and ones, zeros and ones. Binary
One
code
zero
only.
zero zero one one zero 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 one,
Said that.
and they'll still get banned. By the way, if they want to ban you, they ban you either way.
Ban them, bite you. You gotta get bite
This
you.
week they shut down Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Twitter, and they shut them all down because they didn't want to get sued by certain offensive comments. So they took them all down. It took them 12 hours to clean it out, and then they put it back. So you have to be careful what you say.
He lost $6 billion.
Yeah,
Or-
I
yeah,
had no idea it was down.
yeah. He lost $6 billion in the process.
That's what I heard.
But he actually lost $50 billion from the revenue that he
better.
would have
How
got.
did he lose?
The company itself lost. The
The
stock.
stock
market.
went down.
Stock. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you lost. It'll go back up the next day.
We don't know that. People are now scared. Okay.
They worship money.
Yes, they do. Just like the Tower of
Very
Babel.
Yeah, they worship money because they're forced to.
Great. We are all peaceful. That's great. But we like to fight once in a while. It's good. Controversy is good. If you don't argue, you're not Jewish. If you don't argue, you're not a Jew.
Don't smoke it here.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm a
You
Jew
don't
and
argue-
I don't argue.
If you don't argue, you're not Jewish.
I don't argue and I'm a Jew. What
If,
do you like
if you agree with everything I say, something's wrong with you.
Okay, I agree with everything. There's still
You're a spy.
I agree with you 100%, Chaim.
Oh, you agree with me 100%?
Why? Because I look rich.
I don't. You had a guest
No,
that,
they're
that
old
you wanted to bring to your table, and I didn't want her. I didn't agree with you about that.
told by the rabbi.
That's
Oh,
good. That's
okay,
good.
well, I hear what you're saying.
All right. Some poskim regard
Yeah,
all
sure.
wall pictures and wall fixtures hanging on the wall
Okay,
at
quiet
the
on
arrival
the
of
set.
Shabbos as muksa because they're
That's all
designated
sure.
as fixtures, polluting them from other uses. They are therefore likened to fragile items that are muksa.
What? Wall pictures?
Some people say that all pictures are muksa because it's a
From
set
the
picture.
value.
It's a
It
special-
went down,
But
but
if-
not much.
In my house, the pictures are meant to come off the walls every 5 minutes. It's a different halacha. Okay,
What if the picture isn't hanging? It's just on the table. You want to look at
Back up.
will they hang it on the nail?
Why
No, it's just-
why
no
would
hanging.
you
Nothing,
have a
just there.
situation where
pile
your
of pictures. You wanna
pictures
look
are ready to come off every 5 minutes if you know they're gonna
Unless they're very
fall on
expensive,
people's
then you can
heads?
pick it up.
Well,
Who said that?
You can declare them not Muslim.
If they're not expensive.
Time.
Yes.
Rabbi Peel, why would you not fix the pictures so they cannot fall off and your bookshelves so they're stuck to the wall?
Okay, so I
Because if
did.
there's
So
a ruckus,
I did that. I did that with one of my pictures, and then they ripped the rope.
You might as well ask
Rip it.
Mashiach to come.
so you should, but then you could secure it even stronger, not permit a weaker situation.
Slicha, when you have kids, they break everything. There's no such a thing that they cannot break. They can break an
Okay,
iron wall,
Sure. You
a safe. They
but
can break.
fix your pictures and your mirror in your
They can make their own
bathroom.
house
so
phone.
you cannot
Who do you think broke the iron wall?
Who do you think broke the iron wall? Yeah.
What is that?
Soviet.
down the wall?
Listen, I understand what you're saying, but you don't have 6 kids running around the house and another 25 kids
You know-
that come to
So let me
visit.
say,
You know
you
who guarded the base of Mikdash?
Who?
Who guarded the
You
base
have
of
a
Mikdash?
vulnerable
You know?
situation where there's
Who?
plastic and fall and crack and break
Right.
and
You know
touch
how old
someone,
they were?
then you're liable.
we're live on
Before-
TikTok right now.
They weren't old enough to serve yet.
Perfect.
They were little
Yeah.
kids with the
20
guards
or
of the
30?
base of Mikdash.
Sounds like Yemen.
Yes,
So
so
we're live on TikTok right now.
Hashem's house.
I am
Guarded
live on
by kids.
TikTok,
Okay,
YouTube,
so
and
then
Facebook.
I'll make sure not to share the real solution.
No, you could. I mean, you don't want to say anything that will offend anybody.
I'm just kidding anyway, guys. Don't take me seriously.
Yeah. Do you know back in Europe they used to use kids to rob banks and all that stuff because kids are very capable of destroying havoc. Anyways, the kids are very smart. You'd be surprised. I mean, if kids were allowed to drive, I mean, it'd be cheap.
In Yemen, there's like 6-year-olds driving minivans,
Yeah.
and they don't even drive.
Yeah, they don't.
And they're driving a minivan, one hand with an AK, one hand on the wheel.
And they're
and
very trained.
serious. There's real videos of this. It's not even
I
joke.
mean,
It's like
it
real
used
life.
to get like,
Real
you know,
life
the
Yemen
12-year-olds used to be
going
like driving the tractors in the farms here and like doing the
In
farming
certain
and things.
states,
Yeah, 4-year-old
you could
Yemenite
get a
kids
license
selling
from
drugs.
9 years old in certain states in the U.S.
When I was 5 years old, I was riding a Honda 50 motorcycle.
I had a friend who went
Four-stroke
to a different state to get a license at 14.
farm.
14, yes.
All around.
Not-
So
Without
one state
supervision.
allows you in
For
Idaho,
sure.
or one of these farm states, they allow it because they needed the traffic. So. Okay, if a mezuzah fell from one's doorpost, let's say I had
Okay,
a
let's get
mezuzah.
serious again. Serious
guys.
time.
Let's continue.
Serious time.
Let's say I had a mezuzah
We're
on my
learning
door
Torah now.
and it fell.
Wait,
It may not be nailed or screwed back into place on Shabbos. One should not even attempt to fix the mezuzah back into the original screws or nails that may have left still
And what if it's
rooting
not
from the
tape?
wall. Let's say there's a little screw still sticking out, so I could just like slam it on and the screw will stick. I can't do that.
Wait. What if it's a double-sided tape? Like a lot of them these days.
Tape, sure not, but what about a case?
Any of these repairs are boina. Let's see.
Yeah,
We're
right.
gonna do too much vodka. Too much vodka.
Oh yeah, if like let's say like your landlord doesn't let you put a mezuzah on the door, are you allowed to like leave it on top of the door? Just like, leave it on
I
top
want to give
of
it over
the
to
door. Does
someone.
that count?
Put on the inside.
Okay, let's say your landlord doesn't let.
He's freaking out. Wanna pass the-
Yo, Mindy, you know? Are
What?
you allowed to put your
You all right?
your mezuzah on top of the doorpost if your landlord doesn't let you
What?
put it on the side of the doorpost?
There's
There's a lot of crazy landlords out there. You know? Serious.
Me?
That's what I did in New
This
Haven.
guy. Who wants to read? This
Didn't
guy's
let.
a good reader.
Akiba
Okay.
will read.
Put it on top?
He read already. Let
Better
this
than
guy
it's
read.
better than nothing, no?
Fine.
No? Where are we? Oh, well, are we?
Hello. Akiba, it's called a mezuzah,
Mezuzah.
not a lintel.
You let him read.
He's
He's
not-
not-
he's gonna read.
You already have the
Okay,
book.
anyways.
You can't take it back.
Okay, let him
It's called
Scraping out
You finished
No,
mezuzah?
mezuzah. You didn't let me finish it.
a mezuzah that fell from a doorpost on Shabbos. If a mezuzah fell from one's doorpost, it may not be nailed or screwed back into place on Shabbos.
Nice, yeah.
One should not even attempt to fit the mezuzah case back into the original screws or nails that may be left still protruding from the wall. Any of these methods of repair is bona. The mezuzah itself is also mukseh
Just say no and then yes.
and may not be handled. However, if it is lying on the floor in a manner not fitting the holy scroll, especially if it is in danger of becoming defiled, we may pick it up in a backhanded manner, exemplify using
Pick up what in the backhand?
Example.
exemplify using the
What?
palms
Picking up what
of
in the
both
backhand?
feet.
A mezuzah?
Oh,
Pick
what
up
is
the-
it called? It's exempli gratia. That's what it stands for.
Yeah, you could use
Using
tape
the
if you
palms
can't
of
use
both hands and
nails.
deposit it in a safe
You're allowed to
place.
use tape.
That's in general. Not Shabbos.
Yes,
You're allowed to use tape, but wouldn't you have to tear the tape?
No, not on Shabbos. It's saying in general. You're allowed
In
to use
general, somebody asked if you can't use screws, the
tape.
landlord.
What are
doesn't
you
want
not allowed to pick up?
Mezuzah.
You
It's a
basically
muksa.
the mezuzah becomes muksa for some reason. I don't know why.
Just
Because
like
you
it's
don't
don't
filling.
need
what?
whatever.
I
You don't
guess
need it for 30 days.
No, just like it's filling.
Yeah, but first of all, it's filling in certain cases. Also, but mezuzah, like I guess if someone feels that they need protection, they can pick up mezuzah. I guess stam it's one side. Or also shamish that can be on the floor. So I don't know. Okay, whatever.
Anyway.
But if it popped out of its case,
Scrappy, huh?
sometimes they pop off
Right?
and they're still screwed to the wall. They just popped off.
We didn't get to that. That's what I was gonna ask you.
Wasn't popping part of bona?
I don't know.
That's why you can't do popcorn on Shabbos. It's bona.
That's cooking.
Scrappy.
So that's not bite. If it constantly pops off, then I guess it's not biting. It constantly pops, like those places you kiss the mezuzah and the mezuzah falls off. You have to keep picking it up, putting it back on.
That's because those people just don't know how to do anything in their whole life. That's all. Scrapping out putty. It's like silly putty. Like silly putty. That's what it comes from, huh? Or glue clogging a door
Or that's what
catch
silly putty comes from.
or a sliding door track. A door catch that. What the hell is a door catch?
Door catch is something that catches the door. Is a little piece that they place on
Like the
wall.
hole that the.
That the door
Circle.
shouldn't hit the wall.
There's a little.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's a screw.
Okay, got it.
Bong.
A door catch that somehow became filled with thick mud, putty, glue, or any similar sticky or stubborn substance that is difficult to eradicate may not be scraped out on Shabbos or Yom Tov in order to allow the latch to connect properly into the door catch. To
Oh,
remove
door
these
catch against the
substances,
lock then.
Oh, it's that piece.
Oh, door latch, you said?
door catch.
The door catch on the bottom.
Shows you a picture?
I
What,
think
what is
this,
it?
this.
This is a door
It's the top, yeah, the lock.
Let's see.
It's not the lock, it's the actual whatever you want to call it. Bolt.
It's the piece where the lock goes into.
Bolt. Well, not necessarily lock.
Yeah.
'Cause I thought it was the door
Me
catch.
too. We all thought that. You're not the only one who
Yeah,
thought
but once he said
So
it's not
basically,
closed.
in order to fix your door, it's considered bona, basically. So similarly, stubborn substances on the track of a sliding door that interfere with its operation may not be removed on Shabbos. However, loose dirt or sticky particles of food that are easy to remove may be cleaned out of these places on Shabbos. Dried mud may not be scraped out under any conditions because this involves the malacha of tuchin,
What's that? Grinding.
grinding.
Basically, whatever.
So you can't grind on Shabbos.
Not grinding.
Oh, well, alright.
Only if it's for marriage.
Oh, well, why did it say Aroy? Isn't it Arai? Why did it say Aroy? Isn't that wrong? Isn't it Arai?
Okay, whatever, yeah, all right, yeah.
Could
No, I'm
be
saying there's one way to say it, right?
Yeah, whatever. I'm
komats.
Oh, maybe it's Aroy. Oh, hell, Aroy. Temporary canopies and partitions. Oh, man, I remember this yesterday. As explained earlier, see introduction to chapter I. The formation of walls or protective roof constitutes a shelter which may not be erected on Shabbos. However, only a permanent structure consisting of a partition or roof is a malacha midoraisa of bona, similar to the construction of mishkan. Erecting only a temporary wall or roof is not the malacha midoraisa of bona, which means it's just midorabanan. So examples. Here are some examples. Building a shed, erecting a gazebo on a foundation, pitching a tent, or any structure anchored into the ground is prohibited, as these are all halachically permanent structures. Wait a second. What if you're on a boat on Shabbos? Are you allowed to anchor? That's a good question.
No, the whole point
First
of
of all, what are
boating
you
is
doing
supposed
on
to
a
stop.
boat on Shabbos?
Well, let's say
You're
you're
not
a
supposed to
boat
get off a
person.
boat.
Some people live on boats their whole life.
No,
Can't.
it's
You have
different.
to anchor before Shabbos. Can't anchor on Shabbos.
But what if you're gonna take the anchor out before Shabbos? Huh?
Floating.
It's not so simple.
Ask a rock.
Guess this is not included, huh?
Hey, here's a
Structures.
rock.
Oh.
I think that
can
with the
speak
boats
again?
is you're allowed to anchor it, but you're not allowed to move.
What's the thing?
You're not allowed to get off the boat on Shabbos.
Well, that depends if you're
You're allowed to
If you're
anchor it in
near-
one place, but you're not
About
allowed
running
to
a
get off the
boat
boat on
is-
Shabbos.
you can't swim on
Definitely.
Shabbos. But let's say you're next to a sandbar, you can go to the sandbar, right?
Okay.
And Baruch Hazagwi's getting out of jail. Mazel tov.
How's that?
Who's Bar? A Zagwi. Who's a Zagwi again?
Photographer.
What did he do?
Okay, so
He robbed Rabbi
this is
Goner's
easy, sir.
office.
I'm not feeling it.
So why are you trying to say?
I'm
Why-
happy he's out.
Why are you happy he's
Hey,
out if
he
he's
pays
robbing
his
Rabbi Goner?
price.
Guy passed away. What do you
He pays
Oh,
his
but going to
price
pass
to
away?
sign.
Cold, isn't it?
Oh, I'm like living under a
A
rock.
Jew does not belong in jail in the Goyic jails. Okay,
He
you
did
robbed
understand.
Yeah,
money,
because
so
there's
what?
no one to back up Jewish people
He
in
was
jail.
on
That's why.
drugs. He wasn't thinking what he was doing.
What?
He was in the.
If you go to Jewish, if you're
he
Jewish,
was,
you go to
what do
jail.
you call
You're
it? He
screwed.
was under the influence, as they say.
Under the influence.
He knew that Rabbi Goner gives people tzedakah, so he figured
Under the influence of
he'd take it by
Mashiach.
force.
That's only lashes, and that's it. No jail time.
Flashes.
No, you have to pay back.
might not
Feifel. You
live
have to pay
for-
back double, whatever you took.
Isn't there like stories of people that like died from the lashes because it was like
That's
too
invisible.
intense?
No, they're not allowed to do it that hard. So
No, they do it like as hard as they can. Isn't that the whole point?
No.
Not as hard
Nobody
as they
dies
possibly
from those
can.
training.
they have to
Singapore's
first
proven
try
that.
it on themselves.
Didn't they do it just like
Yes.
just like in the slavery days? They did like hard, you know.
Okay,
they
the
just put
halacha
bruises
says
on their
if you
back.
gave 49 lashes, if you gave 50 lashes, then the guy who gave the lashes has to get 39 lashes.
I thought it was
39. So if he did 31 lashes, let's say, he would have to get 30 himself.
Not yet.
I like that.
Very strict.
An eye for an eye. Yeah. Structures that are not designed to remain standing for more than a few days are not true shelters. More than a few days. I remember the machlokes. It was like either one of them said 7 days, one of them said 9 days, or something like that. So I think like we hold 8 days. We hold like the middle or something. You remember? I don't remember so
We
clearly.
always take the
8
middle,
days
the
exactly.
The
Because
middle,
one said 7, one said 9.
yeah, we take the
But then we
middle.
hold like 8.
That's what it was. Are you sure?
I think so.
Some
I mean,
people
I
say
don't
you have to
remember-
wait
I don't
24
remember word
hours
for
after
word.
meat. You know?
Yeah.
12 hours.
Yeah,
Wait, so some people say 20 hours,
No.
24 hours. You have to
Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
from milk to meat
Yeah.
and meat to
No,
milk.
they just say that day. You eat meat that day. That's it. You eat milk that day. That's it.
No one
Oh,
says
okay.
that. That's just the
The
thing.
Arizal said that. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
the
one
Arizal
opinion
said
like that.
The Arizal.
The time of the Talmud, there were people who did that.
The Arizal also says you could daven mincha until Chatzos Halayla. I like the Arizal. Yeah. For example, yeah, that's what the Arizal says. That why do you think the Rebbe used to daven like 5 minutes before Chatzos Halayla? Because there's a mukkah for it. For example, a bed canopy, cloth draped over a baby cradle, or screening spread over a baby carriage are examples of temporary shelters that are not included in the Malach Midaraisa of Bona.
Bona.
Chaim, what's wrong with you?
I said nothing. Everything is.
However,
anything I
the
say, you
sages
get
placed
offended. Anything I say, you get
restrictions.
offended. I'm so scared to talk now.
The sages place restrictions on the making of temporary overhead structures, canopies, and partitions because they bear a resemblance to bonus structures. If people were permitted to erect these various temporary structures on Shabbos, the distinction between permanent and temporary structures could become confused. The sages therefore imposed restrictions on temporary canopies and partitions.
Temporary.
In halachic terminology, by the way, we're lucky we're Chabad, otherwise Bona would like make you crazy. Lucky you're Chabad, I'm telling you. In halachic terminology, a partition is referred to as a mechitza, and an overhead structure as an ohel. Since the halachos of canopies and partitions differ quite distinctly, these two restrictions are best understood as two separate principles. The restriction of temporary canopies, ohel, the restriction of temporary partitions, mechitza.
You know, the
Obviously, you're allowed to do extra temporary,
you have to
which
understand
means,
by the
right?
by the
You're obviously allowed to build a temporary. Oh, they're going to take
by the
off before
non-Chabad
Shabbos, right?
people in the
Or is that
sukkah,
not
they
right?
they have a
Not
canopy
necessarily.
that
It
comes
depends
down
how.
and rains automatically.
You can't just
They pull
cement
this rope.
bricks and break them before Shabbos. Obviously,
That's what it's talking about. Yeah. So only Chabad we don't have it. But everybody else, they have this canopy that comes down if it rains. Just pull the rope.
Anyways, Chabad and
Because
Shabbos
they're
Chabad is
sleeping
like very,
in
very
there.
lenient.
Also sleeping in there.
For like, there's like a couple stuff that are more machmir about. Cooking, and what's the other thing they were more Bora or more machmir about? Everything else were more machmir. Anyways, the restriction of temporary canopies. Ohel. A halachic ohel canopy
When it rains,
is an overhead covering of the tefach, approximately 4 inches width, and with at least 1 tefach clearance. Making a temporary canopy is ordinarily prohibited on Shabbos. Example: it is prohibited to use an umbrella on Shabbos or Yom Tov to protect oneself from rain or harsh sun, even where there is an eruv. Covering a baby carriage with netting to protect the child from insects and the like may also be prohibited for the same reason, but that's only according to not Chabad. Chabad says it's prohibited. It's permitted, actually, to put the stroller. Covering.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
That's what it's talking about.
No, it's not the cover that are
Baby
built
carriage, yeah.
in a stroller. I'm talking about like netting, additional netting.
Yeah, even that's allowed. Remember my Karbach said it's allowed? Telling you, because this is not according to the Alter Rebbe. This is just according to most Jewish people.
Yes.
This is like according to the Ramah, whatever you want to call it.
This is the mainstream.
No,
No, what did we say is allowed?
Yeah, basically, according to the Ramah, he's very strict, more strict about bona, because like something that's attached to something, he's considered it like a separate roof. But the Alter Rebbe said it's all the same thing. Like in short, basically.
You have these coats that you can flip over your head.
Listen, if Rabbi Karbach was here, he'd be able to explain it a lot better.
Is clothing.
Well, sometimes you misunderstand things.
Some of those carriages.
You can't open drawers on Shabbos.
I was convinced you can't open drawers and Shabbos.
That was only like one time, but whatever. Yeah. I was like, you can't open drawers on Shabbos. Oh my god, it was so funny.
If they have a special code and combination of law, can do.
Yeah. Somebody taped them shut with tape that has writing on it.
Yeah.
Can you do a combination lock on Shabbos?
Good. I'm saying that if you had a whole big spiel to open it, maybe it would be a problem.
Hello.
Like
Listen.
Daddy drawers, the grandfather
How is it
drawers?
going to be
You have to do
not allowed on Shabbos to
combination.
go into your house? If you can't go into your house,
The reason
there's
why
no
you're allowed to open the
Shabbos,
thing
man.
over the stroller is because of the. What is it called? Yeah.
Right, Toys for Sarai.
See, a lot
But
of
you know,
plastic.
it's always okay because it's not adding. Like they're adding from like 2 separate. This is how the Alter Rebbe works. He considers, and unlike everyone else, if there's one piece, he always considers it in one piece, no matter how you transform that one piece. Now the Ramah likes to say that the one piece becomes a different piece, but the Alter Rebbe says the same thing. Just like by the Korea, while the Alter Rebbe says the only time when you're actually
Alter
doing
Rebbe does
it
not argue with
is-
the Ramah. There's
Hello,
the Machaber.
Chaim.
he's arguing with their mom. Telling
Bring your Zadie pocketbook.
Hey, let me continue. Going off topic.
Yeah.
However, not all canopies are necessarily forbidden to be erected. This can depend upon how the canopy is made and what the function is and what its function is. There are essentially 2 kinds of temporary OL canopies that may not be made on Shabbos: non-partition canopy and a partition canopy. Non-partition OL canopy. This is any covering with fewer than 3 vertical partitions reaching the ground. Some examples: a wooden plank across 2 solid blocks. The 2 blocks constitute 2 partitions. An umbrella. The umbrella lacks any partitions. As a general rule, non-partition OL canopy is never prohibited unless it is needed to protect the space beneath it, or at least to cover space that is to be used for some purpose. Therefore, a non-muksa wooden plank may be laid across 2 blocks because the plank is not needed to protect the area beneath it. However, an umbrella may not be used on Shabbos because it is used for protection. An umbrella is therefore muksa, partitional OL canopy. Remember, that's what he said in the Simchas Torah, why you can't use your talis if you're using it as protection from all the candies. You remember that? You don't remember that, huh? This refers to any covering with 3 or 4 partitions. Some examples.
Why I'm supposed to terrorist every Shabbos?
I don't know, whatever.
Well, from 7 Shabbos?
Well, technically, if you're not using an umbrella for protection, but that's not really possible.
Well, isn't it? You can.
Let's say if you're using an umbrella for fashion, there might be a Rav that might say it's okay.
Are you
If
allowed
you're just using it purely for
the
fashion,
question of
like you're the
what's it
penguin
called?
from Batman, you're just using it for fashion. It's not
Yeah, but
raining.
what about
It's not sunny.
Taysefis that it's a little bit open? Like, let's say you have an umbrella for the sun.
Okay, let's say if you're
What
not
did
going to
we say
open
about
it up and
umbrellas?
you're just walking off the closed umbrella because it's Versace, whatever. You want to have your stupid fashion. It might be allowed because you're not using it for protection. There's an area. Maybe it's not muktzah
Well,
because
people
it's
say-
fashion.
And
It's a
umbrella
fashion
is there
statement.
for muktzah.
Yeah, but you can use an umbrella as a cane.
Okay, but there's other opinions besides this one opinion.
You use it as a cane.
Well, we are reading this opinion, so let's stick to this.
You can use
Okay,
it as a cane.
I'm just learning to speak with all these opinions. What are you saying? I don't know.
Yeah, Shulchan Aruch talks about umbrella.
What do you mean? There's an OU. What do you
That's
mean?
how I am.
Right over there, I saw it.
Anyways, tomatoes
I
are
made sure to
kosher.
look at it
Whatever.
before.
There's an O.
Hello, Yehuda. Are you eating my non
Hey, it's Woodstock. Come on, it got to be
My
pretty
wife
kosher.
wouldn't buy something that doesn't have.
Yehuda.
He would never see that.
Chaim, how's all the gas?
Well, we'll talk in 5
Let's
minutes
scare
after the
everyone.
class. Give me 5 more minutes.
Anybody brought their Tupperware?
Okay, guys, thank you for coming to the share. I just want to add a verse. So I was in 770 yesterday. This guy says, I want to tell you a miracle story that happened to me with the Rebbe. He said, yeah, that's the keeper from Tzfas. Somebody wants to know if it's you from Tzfas. Yeah, it's the keeper from Tzfas. You remember him in Tzfas?
No, I'm saying
The guy comes in at 770, tells me, I want to tell you a miracle that happened to me. He said, I came all the way from Long Island, and I was saying in my head, how am I ever going to find a Sephardic sitter in 770? It's all Ashkenazi. He walks in. The second he walks in, he sees a big Sephardic sitter right there when he walks in. He says, wow, the Rebbe, so everybody. Guy just told me the story.
It's the rich
Can't
guy.
open drawers on Shabbos.
So today, actually, I did a tours of Crown Heights. I started doing
He
tours.
knows that you could.
And
No, it
I had
says
a
you
bunch
can't.
of guys from Mexico / Houston, Texas. And they were Catholicos.
One
What?
They were Catholicos, Catholics.
Oh, Catholics.
Yeah, so they keep asking.
Oh, Chaim, Mazel Tov, you became a rabbi.
Yes, I will. So they asked me all these weird questions about
Where did you get to?
Imach Shemoy and
What was the last paragraph?
and I told them basically that
The guy was so funny. It's like, yo, they found a sitter there.
the
I'm
Talmud.
with you.
Yeah.
But
The
there's a
Talmud.
million of those sitters.
I told them that the Talmud says that there was 3 Yashkas and they lived over a period of 250 years. And so there is a contradiction between what we understand and what you understand. We were able to read and write 350 years before the Catholic Church was able to read and write. At the beginning, they were pagans. They did not know how to read and write. And they took everything from Jews. Paul was a Jew, and they used his writings to understand the Torah, etc., etc. So they have no idea where to look up stuff. We have the books. So I says, 3 different people. That's all I can say. They didn't know how to read the mark.
I saw a letter today. I saw a letter from the Rebbe today that said that we're missing. There's definitely missing Mishnayos that we don't have that exists.
Well, what happened was the Sexias came and they took out anything that's spoke against Yoshe, Yimach Shemoy, etc., etc.
Yeah.
They burnt all those books of the Talmud that had anything reference to Yoshe. So we did find old Talmudic books, and we put it together. We did actually find a whole Talmud about 30, 40 years ago. We found an entire book of Talmud that we'd never had before. But because we never had it as part of the set, we print it separately. We don't print it as part of the Talmud. And
Where'd you find it?
they found, you have to understand that there were in Cairo, in the city of Cairo, they have a shemus, a geniza, a place where they put all the books that were old that they couldn't use anymore, put into this room, right?
Yeah.
And they found the Geniza room, and they were going through the Geniza room. They found all these old books, and they were able to find all the original prints from thousands of years ago. Because this Geniza was added to for thousands of years, and they never. The big synagogue in Alexandria. Since Bayit Rishon, the synagogue is the oldest synagogue in the world.
Yes.
My nutritionist said to go back eating the non-kosher food like I
Okay.
do in Vegas. I
Everybody
was
thank
better
you.
in Vegas.
We're talking about something serious here, though.
I eat, my nutritionist okayed me to eat the non-kosher food.
Here was it they opened up, they found I could eat in Cairo, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Mark, do you know how much money I have saved up going back? I did $1,800 I have saved.
Yes.
Eating non-kosher food, my weight loss, religious doctor that goes back like.
But if zero on the calendar is the birth of Rabbi Akiva, then obviously there's more. That's a big part of the story.
Why does it freak out at you? You don't know?
If it's actually Rabbi Akiva is zero on the calendar, that means that it was Rabbi Akiva that had significant influence and obviously in that